I don't have my keys. Oh no. Anyone else?
Crane's in there. He opened it.
Oh,
I'm saluting
Sorry.
you right now, Mr. K, but you can't.
Hello, Alan.
hi, Crane.
Hello, Mr. Crane.
Hold on, Orin, you can't be in here.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Bum, 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 ba-da, bum. So so my wife's here not to vote, but to provide some additional context if needed. Okay, cool. So we got the esteemed council member, Ms. Cantor. We have the esteemed Chief Justice. We have myself. And because this is the first pardoning process or whatever, there might be some hiccups or hitches on the actual protocol that we're going to follow. The vision I have for that is simple. One, I will give my statement on why I believe Mr. K should receive a pardon for that particular incident. Two, Mr. K will tell his side of the story. And then three, I believe I will open the floor to the other council members to ask questions of myself or Mr. K. And then once you guys have asked as many questions as you feel are necessary to render judgment on the pardoning process, then I'll have Mr. K step out so we can deliberate. And then once we are done deliberating, I will call him back in, and then we will render judgment. Does that sound good?
That's great. Yeah.
Sick. Okay. I have a statement prepared, of course. Alan, you here? Oh, shit.
Mr. Crane, everything okay?
I should have asked before I went over. That's fine. That's fine.
Your spiel, yeah.
Hello.
Hey, okay,
There
so
we are.
this is our first pardon process. So I just kind of went over briefly just now the actual protocol that we're gonna follow. I'm gonna abbreviate what I just said. So one, I'm gonna give my statement on why I think Mr. K should be pardoned. Two, Mr. K will give his story to you guys because you guys are here because you're not conflicted on his case or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Three, I will open the floor to questions from council members to ask of Mr. K or myself. Four, Mr. K will step out while we deliberate, and then step 5 will be he comes back in and then we issue judgment. Does that sound good, everyone?
Okay. Yeah, works for me.
What do you think, Alan?
Sure.
Okay. All right, statement time. AKA why the mayor's office believes that Mr. Kevin should be pardoned. I tried to keep it short and sweet. Let's freaking do this. Mr. Kevin is a victim of circumstance, a victim of shoddy police work, willful negligence. A man whose hopes and dreams were dashed early by failure to follow procedure upon the LSPD's part. A man that was shot down not far from his own home, while those believed to be the perpetrators were allowed to walk free following several admitted errors by officers themselves during the court case pertaining to this incident. The Dragon of Los Santos has a checkered past, so far as law enforcement is concerned. When the government collapsed, however, he, like many others returning to Los Santos, was possessed of a true entrepreneurial spirit, a fresh start, the ability to live a life that had not been lived prior, to eschew all former stipulations and stigmas, to begin life anew in a city that desperately required a new and fresh coat of paint. Throughout the course of the incident that we are seeking to pardon Mr. K for, the following errors were made by the LSPD. Captain Slacks admitted under oath that they did not detain or GSR test every suspect on scene. Officer Vivian Gray is the one that admitted to not GSR testing Barry Svensson, one of these suspects. Despite this, Mr. K's medical care was interrupted. He was pulled out of the ambulance that he was put into to be GSR tested. He was negative. He was still treated as the primary criminal regardless. No investigation was done as to which gun shot Mr. K. In the official police report, a game of telephone was played in which Mr. K's statement was paraphrased in such a way to make him appear stupid. That's the nicest way to put it. And finally, Rami El Rahman, someone who was on scene, his statement was not included in the actual police report despite his presence. Just some quick cliff notes there. Mr. K was a burgeoning real estate entrepreneur with plans to allow individuals who could not afford giant lump sums of cash to purchase homes via a rent-to-own program, one that had nearly reached its fruition prior to this tragic and offensively negligent incident that would yield a felony on his record and remove his ability to operate as a business in accordance with the law of Los Santos. It is the opinion of the mayor's office that exceptional bias was shown toward a then non-felon by the LSPD in an attempt to besmirch his good name. This manifests in two ways: the poor and incorrect execution of LSPD protocol, as admitted by several officers on trial, to ensure that actual justice on scene could be achieved, and the reprehensible way with which Mr. K was treated while in custody and afterwards. It is my belief that a great disservice was done to the citizens of Los Santos when Mr. K was made into a felon by this incident. The hopes and dreams of several individuals whom were keen on potentially owning a home of their own in the future was made drastically more difficult, as the alternative and most creative avenue by which to accomplish such, provided by Mr. K, was then made impossible. Thus, it is furthermore the opinion of the mayor's office that the overwhelming and willful negligence displayed by the LSPD throughout the course of this incident more than warrants a mayoral pardon, so that Mr. K himself may utilize the funds retrieved by the state in his sentencing in order to begin funding an official expungement. I'm not in the business of harping overly much on the verdict executed by the DOJ. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. There are just a couple of things I wanted to mention. Actually, just one thing. Just one thing. During the verdict, it was advised by the judge that Mr. K ought to sue civilly the LSPD in order to pursue justice for the duty of care violations that transpired while he was in custody. The other one, which I don't think is 100% relevant to a pardon hearing and kind of calls into question the actual verdict that was handed down, is, and this is the other one that I wanted to mention. The presiding judge admitted his decision was due to letter of the law in this verdict and not the spirit of the law. Once more, the mayor's office would like to highlight the suggestion by that judge that he ought to sue civilly, more so than that one that I just mentioned. That's my statement. Mr. K, if you could come up here and give your side of the story.
Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fabulous day. First and foremost, thank you, everyone, for your time today. I know you're very busy people, and I really appreciate you coming out and hearing me out when you didn't have to. So I'm not here to point fingers or say, this person did that wrong, this person did this wrong. You know, all I want is to rewrite a wrong. I feel like I provide a lot to the city, and a lot of that was shut down due to this sloppy case, you could say. I feel like an injustice was done upon me. I feel like I cooperated to the best of my ability with the law enforcement from the start.
So
and
Siobhan's not voting.
On deaf and ears. No proper investigation was done. People weren't questioned. Things weren't looked into. Nothing was investigated. They just looked at me as some scumbag from the past without giving me a fair and just chance to prove them wrong. I mean, just before I came into here, I saw a homeless kid starving. No shoes, no shirt. What did I do? I took the shoes off my feet and gave it to him.
Is he barefoot
That's
right
what
now?
I want to do. I want to make a difference in this city. I want to give back to the people. And hopefully today, after you guys heard my story, just maybe you'll give me that chance again to help this city, to help the people of this city. Because that's what I really want to do. And right now, as it stands, that charge ruined my life. It put a stop to all my businesses, all my plans, my reputation. Everything's just spiraled down since then. And I'm hoping
I was cleaning my
we can get
glasses.
back on the
He
right
did
track
remove
again.
his shoes.
That is all.
Let the record show that Mr. Kevin is in fact wearing no shoes.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm all here.
All right, so we'll open up the floor to questioning myself or Mr. K here.
Isn't this charge kind of a moot point? Do you run a business because you have other felonies?
I was also wondering that.
So,
He's got
Uh,
quite a few.
as the pardoning process is written, he's seeking this particular pardon in order not only to have that charge removed from his record, but also to be refunded the fine that was issued to him for that incident. And it's with that money that he would be able to begin working toward an expungement, which would allow him to become a clean citizen of Los Santos.
Yes, and the other charges on my record are mainly from my time in prison, where I was, a little unstable. It was a lot, and I felt hurt. I felt hurt and abandoned. So I'm hoping I can get the money back from this here charge and put that towards my expungement, clean my record, and get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
When was the most recent time you were arrested?
Oof, I can't even remember. I believe it was after my court case.
The court case for which one?
The appeal.
Oh, okay.
I had a evading charge.
Monka Giga. Wants a pardon and a refund. The way that it's written, that a pardon gives a refund. Do you have any further questions from the council members here about this particular incident? Maybe some inquiries about the actual the protocol that wasn't followed by the LSPD in handling Mr. K on scene.
If you guys want a little more detail, it's all in the court documents. But basically, I was driving in a car with my friend Rami, and we were pulled up on by a group of people. They then shot me in the back while I was in the car. Took my friend of Rami out of the car at gunpoint and knife point. Cops pulled up. They saw all this happen. While I was in the car, a gun was thrown on me, whether you want to believe that or not. The cops then saw Rami getting held up. He blurted out to them, "Help, these are the guys that shot Mr. K." They then let those people leave the scene and only detained me and Rami. We gave them the names of the individuals, all the information, complied completely. They even stopped and briefly chatted with some of these people and didn't detain them, didn't search them, didn't frisk them, didn't GSR them. Me and Rami both came back GSR negative. So obviously I was shot by one of them. They never took the proper steps to completely investigate it and give me a fair and just treatment. I was simply told, letter of the law, we're not going to investigate anything, and you got to deal with it. After that, they raided all my properties, found nothing. Went through all my rental properties while the renter was in there, ruined my reputation, and just walked all over me. I wasn't treated like a human being. I wasn't treated like a citizen. I was treated like a felon from the start. I was guilty until proven innocent. And they never tried or even helped prove me innocent. They never investigated it. They just left it at that. And that's why I think it was unjust and unfair.
So you said they shot you and then threw a gun on you?
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering on the timeline on that. Did it take a while for officers to show up? Long enough to
So
like,
I was
after
shot.
your parts and everything?
So there's two people on bikes and there was a white car. The two people on the bikes pulled up onto us and they were like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing here?" They had like crowbars and stuff. And then a car came up behind us. They got out and started shooting me. They shot me down first in the car. That's when the people on the bikes threw their gun on me and pulled Rami out of the car. The people in the white car came up, pulled him out, held him up, and then that's when they were walking him back to their car, that's when the cops pulled up. And that's when it all went down. That's when the Rami said, "Help, these guys just shot Kay." The two bikes drove off. They got in the car. They drove off. Officer Johnson, who was the first on the scene, tried to call it out. For some reason, he was ignored. They were all let go. They detained me and Rami. I was pulled out the car, bleeding on the ground at this point. EMS were treating me. They stopped EMS from treating me. GSR.
Loser chatter, thanks for subbing.
I was negative. EMS started treating me again. They put me in the ambulance. They come back, pull me out, search me, just treat me like a piece of meat. They didn't care that I was bleeding. They didn't care that I was shot. They were just more concerned about trying to paint me as a
His
criminal.
name was Loser Chatter, dude.
Were you able to supply any information that might have helped them to lead to who did this to you? I guess.
Yes,
I
immediately
don't
we
know
gave
much
them
about the
names.
case, so yeah.
Once the cops pulled up, we said those are the guys right there. We told them it was Jaeger, Mary Mushkin. This was, and they knew who it was because the very beginning of this, it was on an intersection at Mary Mushkin's house. We were on the other side. We were just driving through the neighborhood. There was a big traffic jam because there was a bunch of cops out front of her house talking to her. And we're like, what the hell? What's going on? So we're just chilling in our car. The intersection clears up once the cops leave. We drive through, and that's when we get pulled up on. So the cops even already knew exactly who it was, exactly where it was, and we gave them names immediately.
You have
we
charges
didn't
before
withhold
this? No
anything. We told them
felonies.
exactly what we're telling you guys. So they knew who it was, and they never searched them, fritzed them, GSR'd them, raided them even. We told them we saw them with guns, and they didn't seem to care. I was shot for crying out loud. Someone shot me, but they weren't concerned with that.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, Rami did give a statement. For whatever reason, they never put that on the report.
I have a random question. Is it procedure for a gunshot victim to be GSR'd and when it comes back negative to be searched? Why were you searched? Do you know?
I'm not sure. This was touched on in the court case. They said standard procedure to GSR everyone on scene. And they admitted it was an oversight, not GSRing the other's people. Yeah, they didn't really have an answer for that. They just said, it must have been an oversight. And I'm like, that's a pretty massive oversight, if you ask me. You are on top of the two people that are GSR negative on a shooting scene with someone with bullet holes in them. To me, it felt like bias. I don't want to say it, but it felt very biased.
It's the opinion of the mayor's office that bias is the root of him being treated like this.
But yeah, they left Rami's statement out because I guess it didn't back up what they were trying to push. And I even talked to one of the people who supposedly gave a statement from the other side, and they say they retracted their statement, and for some reason it was still kept on the report. They didn't add Rami's statement, and then they made my statement look like fucking gibberish.
They made you look like an incomprehensible, like babbling old man. I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to be.
It was ridiculous, and they didn't investigate anything, and they rushed it. So originally they arrested me for it, and then they let me go. And the next day I'm in the cells doing paralegal work with Rami, and there was a scene where cops had shot a tanker and blew up a bunch of people at Mosley's. And they were trying to charge my client for those. And I was getting on top of them about it. I said, guys, listen, the only way this could have blown up is by it being shot. And the only people that shot are you guys. So you guys, weren't careful about this. And the officer didn't like that. He just went away for 20 minutes. The next thing I know, here comes the cops back, locking all the doors, and they arrest me for this apparent warrant. And I'm just confused because it felt like they rushed it because they had me there and they didn't like that I was pushing against them. They never gave me a proper investigation. They never looked into any of the information I gave them, the names, all the reports. It was all just thrown aside, and they told me, possession is possession. Letter of the law. But I said, what do you mean? It's not that simple. I gave you stuff to go off of. I gave you information. I gave you the names. I was clearly shot. I was clearly GSR negative. Rami was GSR negative. So someone out there has a gun and is shooting people.
Did Rami also attest to the gun being placed on you? Did he see that?
Yep. It was all in the case.
Rather, correction, it wasn't in the case because they left his statement out.
Yeah.
Well, he testified, didn't he?
He testified to it on the stand.
But in the report,
okay.
it should have been in the report because he's told them all that and more and names and everything. They left it all out. I told them names too.
You know why Rami was unable to recall so much about that scene?
The questioning became very confusing at a certain point. And to me, when the judge said, I talked to him personally, he said,
That's a good question.
You lost the case because Rami said he didn't recall a lot of things. I said, what? How does that make any sense? So other people cannot recall stuff, but the moment Rami doesn't recall stuff, suddenly that makes me guilty. And a lot of the stuff that he didn't recall were like tiny little specific details where it's like, okay, you don't want to lie on stand, so then you're better off just saying you're not sure. But all the major key points he told, no problem. And if they had taken and put his report in the police report like they should have, instead of trying to add it on at last second, I mean, it would never even got to that.
What's worse?
They took over a month to get this thing going.
The question is, what's worse? Rami saying he doesn't recall, or the LSPD admitting several times on trial that they fucked up.
Exactly. I mean, it's such a long time. I mean, it wasn't a swift and just process. You can't expect the guy to remember everything.
Any further questions? I feel like we've kind of possibly exhausted them, but I mean, other council members, do you have anything you'd like to inquire about?
No, I'd be down to talk about it more, but I don't have any more questions.
Honorable Chief Justice Alan Crane. Any further questions?
Nope.
All right. Siobhan, could you let Mr. K out while we deliberate? Because I cannot unlock the door.
I got it.
I appreciate everyone's time, and thank you very much.
Of course.
Cantor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for the doors to close. What do you feel about that whole situation that was just outlined?
Looking at a pardon, I was hoping to say, obviously, I'm not the judge here.
Right.
So
yeah.
I was hoping to look at a wider picture. But committing numerous felonies after the fact isn't ideal towards this.
Yeah, sure.
There was the argument made, of is it really, pardoning someone who's proven that they're, just trying to do good in the city if they haven't, even though they knew a pardon was coming for them. That's kind of a sticking point for me.
Oh, he didn't know the pardon was coming. The pardon wasn't even discussed until I think even after his breakdown. I mean, Crane was there. I don't know if you were there, Cantor, but like he essentially took over Bolingbrook because he was having like a perpetual mental breakdown.
Oh, no, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Oh my
he had
God.
He was despondent because it's my belief that the trauma inflicted as a result of being failed by the system and being targeted like that by the LSPD kind of drove him to a manic point. So yeah, no, I hadn't even been contacted about maybe seeking a pardon for that until well after that particular incident.
Okay. I'll be real frank. I could. I'm more on the fence on this than I thought I'd be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of weighing all the information still.
Okay. Do you have any clarifying questions that I could possibly help with? Question mark.
There's obviously there's the red flags. Like Rami consistently saying, "I do not recall," isn't really him backing up Mr. K's testimony. That's a bit concerning. Something like this with possession, right? Like they kind of need proof that it was planted, and I know that can be difficult. But if it's been set up where that they weren't able to get any of that, and
I do feel the need to clarify for you that there was a witness who did not show up.
Oh, that's not helpful.
Yeah, and he was one of the people who wasn't GSR tested.
Who was
on scene?
Oh, is that fucking the Swedish guy, Barry
Svensson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost testimony there.
He got a warrant for contempt of court.
For failure to appear.
So obviously this is the first part, and it kind of depends on what I should be looking at for this, because I know I'm not here to determine if he was guilty or not, but like what
we're here.
What is the standard we want to set?
We're here to weigh how useful his future business endeavors will be to Los Santos, and his value as a citizen to Los Santos. I think that it was kind of muddied by the LSPD failing to follow all of their protocols and treating him like a piece of meat, like he said. And I genuinely think that if it were anyone else, that things might have been drastically different. So we're looking at his value as a citizen of Los Santos, which
Right.
I will say was extremely high before he copped this felony.
There is, the concern of his behavior with the rate act and everything. That's also hard to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
He took very full advantage of that and tried to use that to his business advantage immediately. That wasn't great.
Right.
I'm very, very in the middle here.
Are you talking about?
To be honest, it does sound like there were some things that went wrong here, and I sympathize with that. But also,
are you talking about when he ran up to you in the hospital and was like, "I already have council members vote"? I think he was
pretty much.
I'm pretty sure he was just kind of like super hype and like being overzealous about the future and stuff.
Right.
He seems like an excitable little lad.
Oh, easily. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree to that.
Okay. Do you have any other concerns before we figure out what Mr. Alan Crane's thinking?
I'll be honest. I'm so in the middle. I think I think we just got to talk about it more.
Sure.
I've had some things I was sticking point on. This isn't it. I thought I'd come in here being a no, but no, not fully. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Alan, what do you think?
What?
The statement given by myself, by Mr. K, your belief about what his value is as a citizen of Los Santos if he were not to have acquired this felony, courtesy of the LSPD negligence, so on and so forth. Where are you at right now?
I don't think the court record. Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack. The stuff that you and Mr. K brought up about protocol is just flat out wrong and ignorant.
How so?
The way that
that's kind of what happens.
the way that scenes like that work, in my experience, is that when you're in a shooting scene, aka there was a conflict between two groups, and you show up as a police officer, the mistakes made were not pulling him out and GSR testing or pulling him out and searching him. The mistake was handing him off to EMS before that was done in the first place.
Okay,
so that's what it looks bad, and the mistake they're admitting to is that they should have done it in the first place, not that they shouldn't have done it. So that needs to be clarified first. Second, there's a whole lot of timeline issues. If I was looking at this case based on the record from the actual court case, as well as what Kay said here today, I'd have a lot of questions, and I don't think they'd get answered.
Like what?
Yeah, that's why I
like,
tried to ask
how did they get on scene fast enough to have Rami there with the other people still there?
Yeah.
But somehow Kay is alleging that the firearm was thrown onto his person, which in and of itself is an argument I wouldn't even entertain in court. The concept of them showing up on scene fast enough to find him down in the car, and Rami being of enough free will to point out the other people still on scene that did it, doesn't make sense. Rami not being able to remember a single damn thing in court that doesn't suit him, but somehow perfectly remembers details of everything that does suit his case is a trademark of people who are obfuscating. Combine that with the reports I just read about Mr. K's recent felonies where he ran after the court case where he had a reckless evading warrant. He gets arrested. Rami then holds up a bunch of police officers at gunpoint and orders Mr. K to be released. Mr. K then drives the getaway vehicle according to the incident reports.
Oh, I have not seen that.
So I don't, you know.
Yeah.
So that further compounds my issues with Rami being this shining star or beacon of truth for Mr. K, and somehow all the cops are incompetent and wrong.
I will provide a brief interjection.
I'm not done.
Well, regardless, I want to touch on a point you just said.
Yeah.
This whole incident is the root of his downward spiral. This was the
I heard that already.
Well, I'm telling you right now that a lot of the stuff might not have happened if he hadn't been mistreated by the LSPD.
So you're saying that Rami decided to hold up cops because of the mistreatment?
Who knows what goes through these guys' head when they're...
And where did Rami get that gun?
I don't know. Don't know. Rami's not the one who's on pardon right now.
Correct. So, if I may finish, my conclusion thus is that I don't believe Rami and Kay. I think it's highly likely that Kay got is the right way to put it in the streets. And I think that the concept of someone being GSR negative is ridiculous when it comes to whether or not the gun was planted on them or not, because I've seen a million incident reports where gang members got by a superior force and they don't get even to shoot. They get shot in the head, don't even get a chance to pull their gun out. That's called, getting rolled up on, getting caught lacking, I think the kids call it.
So that's standard protocol then, is for gunshot victims to be GSR'd and then searched?
In a conflict where two parties are in conflict, yes. Everyone should be searched and GSR'd because guess what? Some people can get shot without being able to pull out their gun. Doesn't mean they weren't in a gang shooting. If if you're in Forum Drive and there's two parties, the ball is in the GSF, and GSF happen to get shot, lacking on the front step of Auntie's house, it doesn't mean they're not in a gang war.
I think that's the problem here, and the problem that I'm trying to highlight is that Mr. K was treated like he was in a gang, and I don't think he was. That's the problem.
Right. So you're still not letting me get to my point.
Okay, well, I'm just interjecting.
I know you are. Thank you. So my point is that all of this said, I don't put much faith in anything here. I don't think the transcript is very reliable. I don't think the police are very reliable. I don't think that Kay or Rami are reliable. And I think that given the same fact pattern, I would make the same decision the judge did. Now, that being said, one of the key things that we didn't have at that time, which we have now, are things like DNA tracking. We also have a better understanding of, the ability to fingerprint these guns and track, who's been holding them and how long ago. And there are scientific advancements that have helped out and would be gratefully helpful in cases like this. It is my belief that I don't think that there's a problem with what was done in court, but I don't think this process is about correcting problems in court. If it were, it would be called an appeal.
Right.
My opinion is that I think there's enough ambiguity here that I am willing to assent to the request with the understanding that I'm basically backing your play, Mr. Mayor. I mean, hey, you think this guy is going to stay clean and narrow and get an expungement and be a businessman and, okay, I'll back your play. I'll admit I don't think that the technical resources were there. I don't think that, the court transcript is satisfactory to really get a clear idea of exactly what happened.
Yes!
I don't find
Alan
anyone reliable, including Kay or Rami. In fact, I find them to be unreliable. But sure, why not? I'll back your play. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? He just, uses the money to, get an expungement. I mean, he has to save up 500K. That's nothing to sniff at.
True.
But what's the worst that happens? He saves up money, gets an expungement, and then gets caught doing something else. It is what it is, and that'll be your legacy, I guess. So I don't know. I'll hitch my cart to your wagon. Whatever.
Okay. With that thought process, Cantor, how do you feel about everything now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be frank. I'm not gonna fight when I was so very on the fence. Y'all are going for it. I think it does seem like he had a lack of ability to really defend himself. I don't disagree to Rami and Mr. K probably not being the best witnesses for all that, but fuck it. If he does want to save up all that money and get himself expunged, yeah, why not?
Oh, and by the way, I'm very clear. The dripping disdain that man has for me and government in every way, shape, and form. In fact, before coming to this room, I heard him admonishing me to Carmine and Bobby, calling me bitch-ass Crane and saying how Bobby should come confront me about not being able to hire who he wants for DLC. Like I said, that's not the point of this hearing, though. The point is for me to evaluate whether I think a pardon's in order. And like I said, I'll back your play.
Okay.
But I think you're wrong. I think the man's a piece of shit, and I think he's going to reoffend.
I think he will too, but I hired a bunch of former criminals as doctors for a reason. Giving people chances isn't the worst thing.
Right.
I wish his behavior after the fact hadn't been the way it was. But if he actually wants to make this commitment, since it is such a heavy one, fuck it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll call him back in. Actually, Siobhan, can you open the door?
Yeah. Come back in.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. All right, Mr. Kevin, it is the decision of this pardon panel with a unanimous vote 3-0 that you, for this incident, be absolved of your crimes and reinstated the money that you were fined so that you may fund your expungement, sir.
1/5 of it.
Oh my God, thank you so much, everyone. I won't let you guys down. This means a lot. I really appreciate you guys for seeing my side and having my back, and thank you so much.
Best of luck on the expungement. I hope you're able
What's
to...
your bank account number?
1144, sir.
No, your bank account number.
Bank account number. 61881208.
How much were you fined for this?
30,000 something.
Okay. Yeah, just get with Mr. Allen here, and he'll remove the requisite charges and get you your money back.
Thank you so much.
All right, your 30,000 has been repaid. Gonna look at the incident now.
Thank you so much.
Hey, don't thank me, man. Thank these guys.
I'll send you some feet pics later or something. Make up for it.
Okay, sure. I mean, you got some nice grippers there.
Oh yeah. My nails are just the length where it helps get that extra grip.
Yeah, and I'll have you know that Mr. Alan Crane there kind of went to bat for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, charge has been removed off your record. You've been refunded 30,000. You're good to go.
Thank you so much, sir. Can I
No
shake
problem.
your hand?
Sure.
Bitch ass Crane, you mean?
Oh, come on, let's get a nice one here.
All right.
Thank you, Alan and Philippa, for coming. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. I'm glad we had enough people to pull this off.
Same.
Boom!
Wow.
Better there, buddy.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful
should
thing.
get
We all just got to
something
see.
eat sometime, catch up, Crane.
Oh, I live on chips.
You open the door.
Yeah.
Same.
We're locked in this
There you
damn
go.
building.
Okay, maybe Chip then. Chip sometime.
Yeah.
What the hell are you guys doing?